Hi everyone, I'm Riff, and it's time for another tippity-top installment of Barney Says!
Hello again to all my friends. I'm glad you decided to watch this video today. But if you want a reminder of what happened last time, here's a recap for you to play. Last time, Christian talked about how Barney Let's Go to the Zoo might be related to the house videos because of the fact that BJ, Baby Bop, and I appeared in the video as magical shooting stars. And he talked about the video because it was the last time a good friend of mine, David Joyner, ever worked together with me before he left to become a Hollywood actor and continue to be with me on tour. We miss you every day, David! And that led to us talking about the final home video that was ever filmed at my house, Barney's Pajama Party, where we had a terrific time having a slumber party at my house while remembering some of our favorite moments from Season 6. But we're not done talking about my house just yet! Christian has one more final surprise for all of you before we end the story of my house. And now we proudly present the final installment of our video!
Thanks, Barney, and welcome back, everyone! Now, as you may remember from our first 3 parts, I started this video so I can tell you about the underused Barney setting, Barney's house, where basically people were curious to see where Barney lives, so they made a video to answer that, and they were planning to make this house the setting for the new season before Hair Entertainment decided they want a park, and I discussed everything that had to do with Barney's house, including the Come On Over to Barney's House video, the books, the merchandise, the live shows, Barney's Dino Dancing Tunes, and Barney's Pajama Party. And I also discussed about, well, basically everything you can think of when it comes to making a Barney's house video. So, you're probably wondering, what the heck are we going to do in part 4 if we literally discussed everything we are going to discuss about? Well, I thought of 2 additional elements I would like to add on for a possibility of Barney's houses, or some questions we might have about Barney's house, so we could talk about what I think about it, and I can ask you what you think about it. I'm calling this section Fan Theories and Possible Returns, because I have some fan theories about Barney and Friends that sort of also relate to Barney's house, and I pretty much want to ask them here. And not only that, but I feel like there's some possible chances that we could have gotten the return of Barney's house, or we could get the return of Barney's house, and I want to discuss them right here before we end our journey with Barney's house. So, let's start with fan theories, because those are the easiest to get out of the way. So, fan theory number 1 is, well, basically about Barney himself. You see, I find it very confusing for us to believe that Barney's supposed to be a toy dinosaur who only comes to life by the power of imagination, so that only means he's supposed to be only seen by the kids. But I find that confusing because in the early videos, basically the kids never wanted Barney to be seen by the adults for some reason, even though he's supposed to be their imaginary friend, so they end up trying to hide him, and they're only okay with mentioning Barney to the adults as long as they make the adults think that Barney is not real.
Who are you talking to? Oh, just one of our make-believe friends. We call him Barney. He's our dinosaur.
Well, Barney must be a very good friend.
Even though it's shown in several episodes and home videos that Barney may or may not be real, because when they decided it would be better for the adults to actually see Barney instead of the kids trying to hide Barney from the adults, basically the adults acknowledge Barney is actually real.
Oh, hi there, Mr. Boyd. It's nice to see you again.
Hi, Barney. Hi, everyone.
And not only that, but even when the adults aren't aware of who the dinosaurs are, there are basically clues given to them to indicate how Barney is basically real. Like how at the end of the Barney in the Backyard Gang video, A Day at the Beach, basically the parents find a bucket of sand that's from the kids' trip to the beach with Barney. That, mind you, back then was supposed to be imaginary.
Where did they get the sand? What do you guys do around here when I'm not around?
And, well, that's basically the only example I can think of, but you get the idea. Basically, it's hard for me to believe that Barney's supposed to be an imaginary dinosaur in the original series when he can literally be seen by any adult out there on the TV show and can create evidence for the adults who can't see him. I mean, for crying out loud, even the Barney wiki site confirms that Barney's technically not imaginary because once the kids bring him to life by imagination, anyone can see him, even if they're not using imagination. So how can an imaginary friend technically be real if they're supposed to be imaginary? So ever since I was young, basically I've always been convinced that Barney is technically a magical dinosaur, like they claim he is in the Barney's World animated series. Because, well, Barney can do all sorts of things with the kids, that are pretty much not real. I mean, sure, Barney says it's imagination whenever he does this thing, but Barney, you are literally doing a percent in hand movement whenever you do your magic, which is supposed to be imaginary, so technically that means you're doing it.
Oh, but if you use your imagination, you'll see that these are very special jars.
I mean, the kids saw you turn those bottles into the season jars that could make it any season they want. That's you. That's you, Barney. Now, Christian, you may be asking yourself, how can that still be possible if Barney's a toy dinosaur in our world, but not a toy dinosaur in the house he lives in? Technically speaking, I don't have a clear answer for that because that was never really clear to me as well, but I have a feel and that there could still be a possible chance that Barney could be a toy who comes to life by the power of imagination in our world, in his show, but still is pretty much a normal living dinosaur in the world he lives in because, well, let's face it, would it be natural to see actual walking, talking dinosaurs live in the real world? That's the only way I can accept this. Anyway, fan theory number 2. Where exactly does Barney live in his house? Because basically we see his house as part of this land, but we don't exactly know where it is. So my best guess is that basically the world Barney lives in is almost like the world dinosaurs lived in all those years ago when they were still alive, with all the natural plants and such before us humans chopped down trees and mowed grass to make way for buildings, houses, and cities. But basically, it's sort of a mix between that and sort of normal human living neighborhoods, like possibly nature versions of regular human neighborhoods, like suburbs, rurals. I'm even going with cities if it comes to, like, the shops they need to, like, get some of the stuff they need, like clothes, toys, food, that sort of stuff. But all nature versions, so it doesn't mess with their ecosystem, and, well, because this is technically supposed to be magic and imagination, so they can technically make this world whatever they want in order for them to live and survive, And I'm especially going with this because there's a possibility in this ecosystem they live in that some dinosaurs can either choose to have their houses basically live near the neighborhood and stores and whatnot, while some can choose to have their houses live on top of hills, especially if they want to make it bigger. Seeing how the concept art image of Barney's house sort of makes it look like Barney's house kind of lives on, like, the top of a giant hill where his backyard is, I mean, that's the only logical way I can think of it. Because, I mean, sure, it's weird to add logic to a children's show, especially one about an imaginary purple Tyrannosaurus Rex, but basically Barney has always had a weird but creative way of adding logic and not logic into the magic and imagination he provides for his friends. So, like, some parts is logical, while others is not so much, so I'm trying to basically think like that, in order for this to make sense for any Barney fans watching this. Fan theory number 3. who are Barney's neighbors? Because I know it's already been confirmed to us that storybook characters and fairy tale characters are supposed to be Barney's neighbors in this world, but are there any other dinosaurs that live there, like Barney, BJ, and Baby Bop? Because it would be pretty weird to have a neighborhood that's only filled with fictional storybook characters from like Mother Goose and any other author of any classic fairy tale you can think of, but yet there are only 3 dinosaurs in existence in this ecosystem. 4 if you want to include Riff into the mix. I mean, think about what I'm saying here. We're talking about a neighborhood where it's all humans and anthropomorphic animals, but no dinosaurs except for 4. Which is kind of sad when you think about it, seeing how these 4 in the Barney universe are technically considered the last of their kind by the looks of it. I mean, it's not like the Ice Age and the meteor didn't kill the dinosaurs. And to be honest, even though we probably wouldn't focus as much on the dinosaur neighbors of the world Barney lives in, especially not as much as the human neighbors, it would probably still be comforting for young viewers, especially probably exciting for them if they're dinosaur fans, to know that there are other dinosaurs out there besides Barney, BJ, Baby Bop, and Riff. Especially if they're really, really big dinosaur fans and they want to see dinosaurs in that show that were never seen, like a Stegosaurus, a Brontosaurus, or all sorts of different types of dinosaurs they could never do in the show, probably because of costume difficulty. I mean, they could even do puppets like Sesame Street if they want to. I mean, it hasn't stopped them before with puppet characters. But anyway, basically I can't really think of that many fan theories for this, but I do have one more that I really want to talk about. Does Baby Bop and BJ live with Barney? As you may know, if you're watching this, especially if you're a Barney fan, you know that we've never seen any other dinosaur out there besides Barney, BJ, Baby Bop, and Riff. So with that much in mind, we've never really seen the parents or any other family members or any other adult figures who would basically be in charge of parenting the young dinosaur characters. Like, we've never seen BJ and Baby Bop's parents, we've never seen Riff's parents, we've never seen an aunt or uncle, we've never seen a grandpa or grandma. I mean, Stephen Weitz did say he once came up with the concept of creating Barney's grandmother as a character for the show, but basically that didn't go anywhere, and we ended up getting Riff instead. No offense, Riff, it's just... that honestly sounds like a very interesting concept to me, since we've never met any of Barney's other family members. And to be honest, I'm sure a lot of us are curious about this, but since we've never met BJ and Baby Bop's parents, by the way, here's my best concept on what the parents possibly could have looked like. Basically, that means we've never seen BJ and Baby Bop say they have to go home to their parents or whatnot. In fact, basically, the show has never even mentioned if BJ and Baby Bop have other family members besides Riff, or if Riff has any other family members besides BJ and Baby Bop. I'm serious. There's never been a Barney episode where BJ and Baby Bop are like, "Hey BJ, we gotta go home. Mom and Dad are still cooking dinner." "Oh, okay, sissy. See you later, Barney." "Yeah, bye-bye."
Bye, BJ. Bye, Baby Bop. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Or an episode where Riff is like, "Wowzers! Well, I better get home, Barney. My aunt and uncle are visiting, and they're bringing over a pizza."
Okay, Riff. Bye-bye. Ooh, 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 ooh.
So it's like, do these kids even have adult figures in their life? This is just crazy! So you're probably wondering why I'm considering if BJ and Baby Bop live with Barney, right? Well, basically, because even though BJ and Baby Bop have never acknowledged if they've ever had parents in their life before, basically, there are previous episodes where they acknowledge where they have to go home, or basically have a home that they live at, even if they don't even mention if they have parents or not.
Oh, do you want to play in the playhouse, BJ?
I think you've done enough playing for today, Sissy. It's time we headed home now.
Oh, okay.
Hey, where we going?
I want to go home and put our flowers in a glass of water.
Okay, and then we can dunk our cookies in a glass of milk.
Ooh, I like that idea.
Yeah.
BJ, where's Baby Bop today?
Oh, she's at home at... Oh, man! I just remembered. I promised to take Sissy to the playground.
What you doing?
I'm going to the library to find a book for Baby Bop.
Oh, where is Baby Bop today?
Well, she's at home. She's not feeling well, and I want to get some books to read to her.
So if anything, where's this home, and why is nobody even ever questioning it? Well, basically, this is where I bring up the fan theory of BJ and Baby Bop live with Barney or not that I want to talk about. Because there's several hints in the Barney's house home videos which almost make it seem like that Barney is the parental figure or the at least adult guardian of BJ and Baby Bop. Because sure, the two of them are seen entering Barney's house like they're just visiting and come on over to Barney's house. And sure, BJ and Baby Bop had sleeping bags that they put on the floor in Barney's living room during the Barney's pajama party video. But other than that, BJ and Baby Bop treat the house like it's their house too. Like a child would normally do these things and just expect to do them every day because that's how they live their life. Like BJ somehow knows where Barney keeps his pails when he's getting one for Jack and Jill.
Hang on. Now we just keep the pails right here.
BJ constantly uses Barney's music room. BJ and Baby Bop and some of the other house home videos are expected to usually be upstairs before they come downstairs to appear for the first time in the home video, like in Barney's Dino Dancing tunes and Barney's Pajama Party. And not only that, but apparently BJ has his drum practice at Barney's house instead of what would be his own house every day, and basically Barney and Baby Bop are way too familiar with it.
Well, I will say that you've been very good about sticking to your drumming lessons, BJ.
Oh, I practice a whole hour every day.
We know.
So, if anything, how is that not evidence that BJ and Baby Bop could possibly live at Barney's house, and basically Barney is the legal guardian of them to make sure that they're getting everything that they need? Like, even though we don't see them go to school, there are some videos and books out there that say BJ and Baby Bop go to school. And not only that, but basically Barney, he has to be in charge of feeding them, making sure they get their chores done, basically everything a parent would have to do if they're raising a kid. And not only that, but Barney, BJ, and Baby Bop have always been an iconic trio, to the point where the trio feels like two chaotic kids and one chaotic but most of the time calm parental guardian who looks after his chaotic kids and basically sometimes joins in on their shenanigans because it seems like a lot of fun and they don't want to be left out, especially because it's their job to look after the kids and make sure nothing goes too crazy that would result in a fight or basically a boo-boo. Because Barney pretty much seems like he always has been the parental guardian for BJ and Baby Bop, even before the Barney's house videos even were released. I mean, this has led some people online to actually believe Barney's supposed to be the actual biological father of BJ and Baby Bop, even though Barney doesn't have a wife and doesn't have a girlfriend, so he's pretty much single.
Who's your girlfriend?
Oh, girlfriend? Oh, well, gee, I don't have a girlfriend. I have lots of friends, though.
And as we remember from earlier, Barney is a Tyrannosaurus Rex, while Baby Bop's a Triceratops, and BJ is a Protoceratops. Now, there are several pieces of information confirming that Baby Bop and BJ aren't Barney's kids, like the Barney character portfolio, but other than that, it just feels like Barney's pretty much the adopted father, or at least the legal adult guardian of BJ and Baby Bop, because of all of the typical BJ and Baby Bop feeling like they're Barney's kids moments that they've had in the show, where Barney has to be a parent and try to step in, while he's still pretty much the fun teacher and friend that he made a reputation of.
I told you, Sissy, I'm going to be the engineer.
No, me.
You always get your way because you're little.
No, you do because you're bigger.
Oh, BJ, Baby Bop, what's wrong?
We made a circus train and I want to be the engineer. But Baby Bop wants to be the engineer too.
Yeah.
Oh, well, is there another train job you'd like, BJ?
No.
Oh, well, how about you, Baby Bop?
No.
Well, it might be fun for one of you to be the conductor. The engineer drives the train, but the conductor gets to tell the engineer when to start and stop. And the conductor also shouts, "All aboard!"
Okay, I'll be the conductor.
I want to be the conductor.
Well, is there a way you could both get to be the engineer and the conductor?
I know. We could take turns.
That's a great idea, Sissy.
It's mine.
No, it's not. It's mine.
It's not.
It's too.
I found it first.
Well, I found it second.
Let's go, BJ,
Sissy, it's mine. You wouldn't know what to do with it anyway.
It's gonna be my new playhouse.
Playhouse? No way. I'm gonna make it into a cool fort.
Playhouse!
Fort.
Hi there. What's wrong?
Oh, hi, Barney.
Barney, I found this box and I'm gonna make it into a
playhouse.
One at a time, please.
Excuse me. See, Barney, I found this box first.
Yes?
So it's gonna be my pretty playhouse.
Okay.
No, it's not. It's gonna be my cool fort.
Oh, my. Well, it seems that you have a little problem. You both want to play with the same thing at the same time. Maybe you could share the box.
I don't want to share it. It's mine.
Ay, ay, ay.
Sometimes, when my brother and I both want to play with the same toy, we take turns playing with it.
Oh, taking turns is a great idea, Robert. When you take turns, everyone shares in the fun.
Where'd it come from? What's going on?
This is Baby Bop's school. And you're late. Line up. Line up, please.
Oh, man, do I have to?
It would be nice. We're all helping Baby Bop have fun in her make-believe school.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a great big sandcastle.
Sissy, I can make a sandcastle that's way bigger than yours.
Nuh-uh.
Can so?
Cannot.
Oh, yeah?
Whoa! Hold it. There's plenty of sand on the beach. Why don't you both get started building your sandcastles so we can take a look at them?
Hey, that's a great idea. Yeah, there's a rhythm for ya. Sis, boo, bop, rah, rah, rah. That's a good loud rhythm, right? Right? Is there a problem?
BJ, we're trying to listen for something quiet.
Oh.
I think you wanted us to hear you so much that you forgot how important it can be to listen.
I wish you'd learn to tell time, Sissy.
Why?
Well, Baby Bop, using a clock can help two people meet somewhere at the same time.
Yeah, like meeting your brother in the treehouse at 2 o'clock.
Do not.
2-2.
Do not.
2-2.
Do not.
2-2.
Do not.
2-2.
What's the matter, BJ?
Oh, Sissy gets to take it easy all day.
Oh, do not.
2-2.
Do not.
2-2. Oh, she doesn't have any jobs or chores. Well, I wish I could do what she does. Oh.
Well, BJ gets to do whatever he wants without any help. I wish I could do what he does.
Well, when you want something that someone else has, it can make you feel sad, or even a little bit mad.
Or a lot mad, huh, BJ? Hey.
Oh, well, it's like I said, sometimes everybody wants things they don't have. And if that makes you a little bit mad or a little bit sad, you're just like everyone else.
But Barney, wait a minute. See, I still want to be big like BJ.
Okay.
I want to do things without help.
Oh, and you're going to.
I am?
Oh, sure. You're growing every day, and you'll be a big girl before you know it.
I mean, let's face it, Barney in his own way has always felt like the father who would basically play with his 3-year-old daughter and do whatever she wants, like if it's a tea party or a game of pretend.
Hi, everybody. Except I'm not Baby Bop today.
Oh, who are you?
I'm Safety Officer Baby Bop.
Barney, hi, friends. Whoa, horsey.
What are you doing, Baby Bop?
Well, I'm playing dress up with my teddy bear.
Oh.
She's a cowgirl, and we were pretending to ride a horsey. Hey, everybody! Look what I found!
Hello there. Oh, have you seen Baby Bop anywhere?
Barney, I am Baby Bop. I'm just wearing a costume.
Oh, I didn't recognize you for a moment.
But also feeling like the father of a hyperactive 7-year-old who not only does crazy tricks on his scooter, but also has to look out for them when they're not being careful.
Wait a minute! You haven't seen anything yet, 'cause we saved the best act in the circus for last. BJ the Human Cannonball!
BJ the who?
Bring it in, guys!
Bring what in?
My cannon!
Your cannon? Oh, a cannon!
Right.
Oh, goodness!
Look,
Oh, it's
Barney,
huge!
is that cool or what?
Oh, I don't know if that's the right word for it.
That's
Cool.
great.
That's
Thanks, guys!
it's got stripes. Oh, no.
Yes, I'm BJ the Human Cannonball!
Oh.
In just a few moments, I will climb into that cannon and be fired high into the sky!
Now, let's think about this, shall we,
While
BJ?
flying through the air, I will do 3 somersaults, touch my toes, and wave a flag!
Well, now that sounds very entertaining, but I don't think that you
Then,
should...
on my way down, I'll juggle 6 oranges, say the alphabet backwards, and...
And what?
And I'll look for someplace soft to land.
Oh, BJ, I don't think you can get shot out of a cannon. Well, that just wouldn't be a safe thing to try. And safety is very, very important.
Okay, I guess you're right.
Oh, good. You had me worried there for a minute.
But I hope that none of us will get any boo-boos today. If we play safely, and try to be careful.
Be careful, be careful. Seems like somebody's always telling me to be careful. Whoa!
BJ, be careful.
Be careful? Why? Oh, I sort of thought be careful just meant quit having so much fun.
When someone says be careful, it means they don't want you to get hurt because they care about you.
Oh, I guess I never really looked at it that way before.
Also, basically, there are many Barney books out there where they have Barney live in a normal house for some reason instead of his own house. And basically, where Barney lives in those normal houses, most of the time, BJ and Bebop have their own rooms in that house, and Barney's the one living with them like he's a father to them. So it's like, how much more proof do you need that Barney's pretty much the adult guardian of BJ and Bebop? So to close out this very long fan theory, I believe Barney is technically the legal guardian of BJ and Bebop to make sure nothing bad happens to them, especially because of how much these three hang out all the time and we never see their parents. So basically, Barney's in charge of making sure BJ and Bebop are able to grow up, and then when they're ready to go into our society, basically start their lives as adults. So I would like to thank you for listening to that very long fan theory and the other fan theories. I am so sorry that took so long, but there's so much I just wanted to say about it. But anyway, I am curious, what are your Barney fan theories? Let me know in the comments below if you actually have any Barney fan theories. I'm pretty interested in hearing them. But anyway, now with that out of the way, let's move on to possible returns. Because I know what you're thinking. How could Barney's house possibly return if they wanted to get rid of the concept because it wasn't what they wanted? Well, in order for that to make sense, we'll have to discuss how the Barney TV show went down the line after the release of Season 7. For you see, as soon as Season 7 came out, that's basically when things sort of went a little bit downhill, before Season 9 came out, where things went downhill further, and Season 10 came out, and then everything went downhill. Because if you're a Barney fan and know everything Entertainment did with the characters, then you absolutely know what I'm talking about. But if you're not that familiar, then let me explain. You see, things were fine at first from Season 7 through 8, because it felt like the original Barney formula, only a little bit different because of the new Barney actors like Dean Went as the voice, and Carey Stinson, who, fun fact, is actually the longest Barney costume performer out there, because he started performing Barney for birthday parties in 1991, and he then was picked up to do public appearances and then do live show tours before he was officially casted as the main role for the TV series after David Joyner left, and has pretty much stayed on the role as the Barney costume ever since Barney's Christmas Star. all the way until the cancellation of the show, where he would start doing Barney as for public appearances before they would eventually phase that out, and he would return as Barney in 2019 for a retirement party, believe it or not. Isn't that amazing? So anyway, other than the new actors, there was also the new set in the park. So yeah, season 7 through 8 was pretty much a bit similar to the previous seasons, only a little bit different because of the new actors for Barney and the park setting. In fact, pretty much season 7 through 8 are very similar to each other, so you could confuse early season 8 episodes for season 7 episodes, and late season 7 episodes for early season 8 episodes, especially since they didn't change the theme song intro, which still had season 7 clips. But then around season 9, that's when things started getting weird, because around that time, basically, they decided to change the Barney program so it would mainly focus more on the dinosaurs instead of the human characters, even though the human characters were supposed to be an important part of the show. So that led to BJ and Baby Bop being seen in every episode, even if they weren't part of the main plot. And not only that, but it would involve them being in this white void for some reason, doing activities, and somehow leaving to go back to the park without any explanation. It was so confusing. And then around season 10, things weren't getting as good for Barney fans, because around that time, someone new who took charge of the show, and they hired a bunch of writers from Hollywood who probably weren't that familiar with Barney, and, well, basically she allowed them to write whatever kind of plots they wanted, which they thought would fit for a preschool show. And basically, even though some of those episodes worked, some of them didn't at the same time, because it was a mixed match between it feeling like a Barney episode and it not feeling like a Barney episode. And what made matters worse is that they shortened it to 11 minutes instead of a half hour, even though the Barney formula was never meant to be squeezed into an 11-minute episode. And around this time, they also introduced the character Riff. Now, I do not hate Riff personally. I think Riff is a very good character. It's just as someone who kind of grew up watching a trio and seeing a lot more trio stuff, seeing how Riff was only introduced in the later years, I'm more used to just Barney, BJ, and Baby Bop instead of Riff, but I don't find Riff as a bad character, just someone they were trying to push to be like a main character, even though he was only just new at the time. But as soon as season 11 came along, that's when things really didn't settle well with fans, because basically, I don't want to say anything that would hurt anyone's feelings, but they didn't really handle season 11 very well, because they decided to do conflict-based episodes to talk about very heavy subjects that kids may or may not encounter in their real life, sort of the subjects you would see talked about on Sesame Street. And even though I'm technically not against that, seeing how it is important for kids to learn those emotions from their favorite shows if they don't watch shows like Sesame Street, I will admit the way they didn't do it is not very, very well. I mean, don't get me wrong, they still have very lighthearted Barney episodes that we're all familiar with, like a Halloween special, and an episode about encouraging kids to do their best, but they talked about episodes with more serious subjects that you would not usually see in classic Barney, such as addictions, and even an episode about death where Baby Bop gets attached to a flower and ends up being sad about it dying. Now, I don't think they handled the death episode very well, to be honest, because Baby Bop's he's sad for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then instantly she just gets happy again after singing one song for some reason. And honestly, that's just not how people feel when they feel sad about somebody dying or mourn over somebody's death, so it doesn't really feel realistic in my opinion. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not against Barney doing serious subjects, especially if they're able to do it very well, but the serious subjects sometimes don't feel like they're handled very well when it talks about how kids could probably feel during these serious situations. And not only that, but they didn't really live up to the Barney brand as we all know and love. So in a nutshell, season 11 is well-meaning, but they didn't exactly succeed with what their goal was. But around season 12, and I'm probably one of the only few fans to say this, the show was starting to get a little bit better because they dropped the whole 11-minute episode thing and went back to the whole half-hour thing, even if it was now like 20 minutes. And even if that unfortunately resulted in only 10 episodes per season, and basically during that time, it felt like they were trying to return Barney to his roots from the first 8 seasons to give us classic Barney formula episodes once again. Although they were still recovering from some of the stuff they were doing in seasons 10 and 11. But the main point here is that, in my opinion, the show was starting to feel like Barney once again. As in around season 13, they were still doing what they were doing in season 12, only they added an additional element, which I find very nice, which is that they used Barney's travel book to go to different countries around the world to teach kids about different cultures, different countries, how people live their lives there. Pretty interesting, am I right? But anyway, around like season 14, when you think things were going to get better, they went worse again. And as I mentioned earlier, season 14 just repeated episodes from seasons 10 and 11. And not only that, but they barely did anything new with it, which is weird because they still had the same writers, cast members, and sets they were using since like season 13. And they only used them for like home videos and clip show home videos for some reason, instead of trying to make new episodes, which is like so annoying to me, which is why I feel like season 14 is the worst Barney season out there, period, because, well, they barely did anything new with it. So you're probably thinking to yourself, well, that's sad, but Christian, what does any of this have to do with the return of Barney's house, seeing how you're just telling us what happened from Barney's seasons 7 through 14? Well, around this time when they were waiting to see if they would actually get a season 15, even though I doubt it at this point, seeing what they did with season 14, and the fact that people on Barney weren't sure if they would continue the show or not, so some of them left to pursue other Barney projects, like Babe Bop's costume actress at the time, Lauren, decided to play Babe Bop for the V Corporation Barney live show tour. Basically, around that time, Bob Lavella, who was still attached with the Barney franchise, basically decided he would create a new Barney concept to attempt to revamp the franchise. Basically, he made a concept that instead of actually staying in the human world where the kids usually are and where Barney arrives, basically, we would go to a magical land to see what sort of land Barney lives in, and that the kids would basically magically go there too. So, instead of Barney magically appearing in our world to play with a bunch of kids, basically, Barney would probably use his magic to take the kids to where he lives. So sort of an Uno reverse on how the show's supposed to work, because it was originally supposed to be Barney magically appears in our world, but now we magically appear in his world. And the only reason we actually know about this revamp was because Bob actually talked about it when he was on an episode of Purple Tales podcast. Which also led to T. Rivik Tributes, who is an amazing person for the Barney franchise on social media, to make a video talking about that, even though Bob didn't really tell us that much about it, so it gave T. Rivik Tributes and me very little to work with. But I did discover something a while ago, which I think gives us more intel on what this revamp could have looked like. For you see, Kathy Miller, who's a person who works in production design and scenery, has their own website and has a whole page dedicated to Barney for sets they hope to create. So basically, they've worked on the show before, and apparently they have a section about models they made for prototype sets. It turns out they have some pages for prototype sets of Barney sets. And even though I can't tell you what this house set is supposed to be, basically there is a set here in the form of a miniature model that looks like it's supposed to be a Magic Forest Wonderland that has Barney in it. So my best guess is that this model here is supposed to be what the Barney Land concept was supposed to look like. I could be wrong, but it feels eerily similar to Barney's backyard and some of the stuff we've probably seen and come on over to Barney's house. So this is my best guess on what Barney's land is supposed to look like. Now you're probably wondering what this has to do with his house. Well, basically Bob, when talking about this revamp, says that he already knows that they did a video where we visit Barney's house. So basically he acknowledges it and remembers it, so it's like... So my best guess is that if they were going to bring back Barney's land, they might need an inside area in case the weather decides to force them to go inside, like with the caboose. So there could possibly be a return of Barney's house if they wanted to, which I'm not sure if they ultimately decided to go with that when creating the idea, but honestly, I like to think that's an idea, because, let's face it, we want to see more of Barney's house, or at least see Barney's house come back, so why the heck not? But ultimately, as you may or may not know, basically the show was cancelled after season 14, so that revamp was scrapped. which is just such a shame because I would have loved to see the magical land Barney lives in. That's literally what I was talking about earlier with the fan theories when we were talking about Barney's house, for crying out loud. And so, as you can see, that possibility of coming back to Barney's house was ultimately gone. So you're probably wondering what the other one is, since I said the title like there's more than one. Well, that one is currently undetermined, but it lies in the current Barney series, Barney's World. Now, I know this series is very controversial between a lot of fans because a lot of them hate Barney's World, so they're not a fan of it, especially because they feel like it's sort of ruining their childhood and whatnot. But honestly, I actually like it, and this is honestly one of the best things Barney has gotten after everything he went through in the entertainment seasons. And basically, this show tries its best to try to return Barney to his classic roots from the original TV series, while trying to modernize it to make it more marketable and more educational for younger viewers of today's generation. With this all-new series taking place in a bigger park in the middle of a giant city, and now that Barney, BJ, now renamed Billy, and Baby Bop are hanging out with three kid best friends, Mel, Vivi, and David, and going on these adventures in the park with Barney's larger-than-life magic, basically this show is very fun and pretty much what I consider pretty much an authentic reboot or revisualization or refresh or a reimagining, if you will, of the Barney franchise, because they're trying to make a good balance of old and new. And I think they found a good middle ground. And you know how earlier I mentioned how I'm not against if Barney ever did serious subjects? Well, I feel like Barney's World here could teach the serious subjects they sometimes teach on Sesame Street a little bit better than they did on Barney and Friends. Because basically one of the most important things when teaching kids about these serious subjects is think about how that child feels in that situation, so you can try to help them out in a way that isn't like manipulative and validates their feelings. And unfortunately, that wasn't part of the original Barney Friends social curriculum in the original series, seeing how they were more worried about educational learning like ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, and trying to encourage kids to use their imaginations and how to be a better friend. But Barney's World now has a curriculum that tries to focus on how kids feel, because for kids, especially when they're in preschool, the feelings they feel can be pretty big compared to as they get older. So basically, some modern preschool shows try to teach kids how to deal with these emotions in healthy ways. And Barney's World is no exception, because in every single episode, they have a character who learns a lesson of that episode, and sometimes they have other characters learn that lesson with the character they're focusing on. And every single time they focus on the character of the episode, they always try to focus on how that character feels. And Barney would always be there to help guide them through their emotions. Especially because they added a part of Barney's character to try to emphasize on the emotions thing, where he's a dinosaur who's always there for you no matter what. You see, how this usually works is that Barney pretty much notices that one of his friends is feeling sad or angry or anything else, and he checks up on them and asks if they want to talk, and if they don't, Barney will respect that and back off. But usually, most of the time, they do feel like that they do need to talk to Barney, so they usually say, "Thanks, Barney, I think I do." And usually, most of the time, the kids ask Barney if they can talk. And depending on if Barney's the one who's asking the kid if they want to talk, or if the kid asks Barney if they can talk, Barney would always say stuff or respond with stuff like,
"If you need to talk, I love to listen. I'm here if you want to talk, or even if you don't. I've got you. I may not have ears, but right now, I'm all ears. I'm always here if you need to talk."
You know, sort of encouraging stuff like that when someone really wants to talk about how they're feeling to someone. Barney is basically portrayed as that dinosaur who will always help guide the characters through their emotions when necessary, whenever they need him, to make him sort of like a friend who's always going to be there for them no matter what. And there are several episodes that bring up good examples of this, like how in episode 2, David feels scared of the dark, and since his favorite toy, Super Mecha Golden Gary, is low on battery power, Barney decides to become a replacement for Gary, but also decides to teach David some methods to help him calm down when he feels scared. And then there's this episode that begins with them playing Red Light Stop Green Light Go and Mel always wins, and since Baby Bop thinks Mel is so fast, she gives her the nickname Zoomy Zoom Zoom. But then when they move on to a different game where Mel, Vivi, David, and Baby Bop get to be knights who try to find a beastie for Sir Billy, and Barney basically plays the beastie in this game, which is like a mix between a game of chase and hide and seek, only with multiple seekers and one hider. Baby Bop won't drop the whole Zoomy Zoom thing because she thinks Mel finds it funny, even though Mel is physically upset by this, and Baby Bop somehow can't read the room because Vivi and David can pretty much see that Mel doesn't like being called Zoomy Zoom Zoom. So when it gets so bad that Mel decides to quit the game, basically Barney decides to take a break from being the beastie and decides to talk to Mel to see if she's doing alright, and even though she finds it silly that she's getting upset over a nickname, Barney assures her that if someone's bothering her, he doesn't think it's silly, and after talking it out, basically Barney helps Mel find a solution, which is to actually tell Baby Bop that she doesn't like being called Zoomy Zoom Zoom, and Baby Bop absolutely drops the whole calling Mel Zoomy thing. And then there's this other episode where Vivi feels scared and a little bit sad that she probably jeopardized her love with Nona because she accidentally knocked over some flower pots her Nona warned her not to touch. And with a little help from Barney, Vivi eventually realizes the true power of unconditional love. So basically, if Barney's World ever decides to try to handle some of the serious topics that have been taught on shows like Sesame Street, or even some of the topics they were trying to teach in season 11 of Barney Friends, I have a feeling they will do an amazing job at it, because they'll try to consider how kids might feel during those times, and try to help guide them through it, while also validating their feelings. In fact, it's not just kids' emotions that they decide to focus on too, because there are some episodes out there where they try to show their target audience that sometimes even adults feel the emotions kids do, and not only that, but basically they sometimes might need someone to talk to too if there's something's bothering them. Like how they acknowledge that adults sometimes feel sad like kids when Grady's sad that he can't give his favorite crew some pretzels after a bunch of birdwatchers bought them all in episode 24. And how David and Liam's mom is feeling very stressed in episode 39 because even though the kids are trying to help her relax, basically there's so much going on that's preventing her from relaxing. And there's even 2 episodes where Barney gets to show that he's not always the happy dinosaur we all know and love, and can sometimes feel disappointed, disheartened, angry, frustrated, or even sad too. So basically the show wants to show kids that everyone does feel emotions, and that nobody technically doesn't have emotions, especially because having emotions is what makes us human. So honestly, that's very nice. So I know what you're wondering now. How does this relate to Barney's house? Well, even though they haven't officially said anything about Barney's house possibly returning, basically, there is a bunch of fan theories online about Barney's magic in this show. Specifically, when Barney uses his magic to teleport him and his friends out of the park and into a new place. I am serious. Basically, a thing in this show now is that Barney can use his magic to magically teleport him and his friends into a new location, and then use that magic to take him and his friends back to the park when they're done. And this leads us to basically go into many different worlds in the Barney's World universe. Like a world that has a giant castle in it, that has Billy and Baby Bop pretending to be royalty, a giant world where it's a big ocean and they have their own pirate ship which can lead them to their own island. A world where it's sometimes a jungle and sometimes a forest, but always looks the same, even though the name is different. A world where it's the beach, but also looks like the island, but it doesn't look too much like the island, so they can call it the beach. And even outer space, where Barney has his own planet named Planet Barney. And basically, many people are questioning where exactly is Barney taking these kids, or if this is supposed to still be the park. And I think Mattel themselves is trying to convince us that Barney's actually using his magic to transform the park into the castle world and the pirate world and the jungle/forest world and even outer space, because there are several pieces of Barney media where they claim Barney's doing this. Like, for example, in Barney's introduction short, basically he says the play castle in the park can be turned into a terrific gigantic castle with his magic and imagination. And then there's the Barney book Ahoy Mateys, where the book claims Barney uses his magic to transform the park into a big ocean where they're inside of a giant pirate ship. But honestly, I don't think this is supposed to be the park, because one, how would that even be possible? Sure, Barney's magical, but not magical enough to transform worlds. And two, wouldn't that be inconsiderate for the adults who take their kids to the park and just want to catch a break while their kids play? Very inconsiderate. Barney always tries to consider everyone's feelings in both the reboot and the original. I mean, there's literally an episode they did where they talk about the right and wrong time to be silly, especially because of it being considerate for everyone else around you. So honestly, I feel like the people who made the show would probably take it into consideration that it would be pretty inconsiderate of the giant purple dinosaur to literally transform the park they're currently at to be these magical worlds they have to, like, be in for several minutes until their kids are done with these silly adventures of theirs. So our best guess so far is that this world is just worlds Barney can magically take his friends. To the point where I've seen some people online question, is this Barney's world? Like, is this supposed to be the world of the Barney's World title, and the place where Barney just hangs out before or his friends decide to call out to him so he can magically appear in the park? Because we never see where Barney magically comes from in this series, and we never see him magically go away at the end of the episodes too. So it's like, is this world supposed to be where Barney magically comes from? I didn't think so at first, because why would Barney just make a castle his house? Honestly, seems too chill for that. But the more I think about it, all the worlds do seem to have a weird dinosaur aesthetic to it. Like, compared to the worlds the kids live in with the park, which is considerably in the real world, basically a lot of the locations Barney takes his friends to happen to share the same cartoony, magical aesthetic thing along with a whole dinosaur theme. I mean, think about it. Barney has his own pirate ship with his face on it. They have lava there, which is in the form of grape jelly, so Barney can pretty much get an unlimited supply of jelly for his peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And not only that, but a lot of the colors in these magical worlds share Barney's purple, green, and yellow, or at least have colors that aren't normal for the real world, like purple grass, red leaves, blue bushes, yellow branches. Basically, anyway, you can mismatch any color that's for normal plants and just try to make it seem more colorful and extravagant and less ordinary and less common. And not only that, but they all seem to have dinosaur themes to them, like spikes on mountaintops, or even in the pirate world, clouds that are shaped like dinosaurs that seem more realistic than Barney, BJ, and Baby Bop, or in the form of dinosaurs we've actually never even seen in the TV series.
I am a Stegosaurus.
And if you needed me to give you more evidence to try to convince you that basically this is supposed to be the enchanted place where Barney comes from, I have one more piece of evidence for you, which I feel like is a pretty big highlight for, like, if this is the magical world where Barney comes from. Because you see, for the description of Barney's World, Season 1, Episode 43, The Brighter Side, basically the plot of the description says Barney takes Mel on a trip to the enchanted Barneyverse where they meet Billy the Pixie. And basically, this is the only Barney's World episode description to describe the place they're going to as the enchanted Barneyverse, even though the place they go to in the episode is basically the enchanted forest and enchanted jungle that they visited in previous episodes. Because they switch between naming the place a forest or a jungle in the episodes it appears in for some reason. Even though it looks more like a forest and only a little bit like a jungle. But basically, this is the only episode description to refer to one of the magical worlds Barney takes his friends to as the enchanted Barneyverse, and not its actual name, which is either the forest or the jungle. So basically, with all of that evidence in mind of how the world sort of looks like a land inhabited by dinosaurs, but with a magical twist, and how even the episode description names it a Barneyverse for some reason,
then I think they're making it a little bit obvious.
So even though it's currently unconfirmed, I do like to think that maybe Barney has taken his friends to the world where he comes from, since everything is so eerily shaped or has the same aesthetics, or basically shares something in common with him, or just dinosaurs in general. So, yeah. And honestly, if that's the case, it'll be a matter of time before Mel, Vivi, and David get curious about where Barney actually comes from or lives, because, well, at some point, you might have to question where your friend comes from if they magically appear in front of you. And basically, there could be a chance that Barney's World could reintroduce the concept of Barney having a house. Almost similar to the house he might have in Come On Over to Barney's House, only the color scheme might be more attached with the whole purple and green thing. I've seen that as kind of like a trend for the Barney's World series. So with that much in mind, even though it's unconfirmed, especially because there's no announcement of Season 2 yet, basically, there's still a chance that Barney's World could possibly bring back Barney's house. And let me tell you, if they do, I would honestly be so thrilled. So that brings us to the end of the video. I'm sorry it took so long, but there was a lot to cover for Barney's house, and also I'm kind of a Barney nerd, so I couldn't resist talking about fun facts or Barney lore that I knew about. But anyway, we're officially at the end of our video, and basically, even if we might never see Barney's house come back, like at all, ever in our entire lives, we'll just be glad that we got the chance to visit Barney's house for once. I've been Christian Ryan, and this has been my special review of Barney's house. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!
And remember, I love you.